God of War, Celeste, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. These are just some of the games that we will not be covering on the IGN UK Alternative Awards for Games 2018.
Yes.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Joe Screbbles, your host this year, and I'm joined for now by Gav Murphy.
Hello.
And Al Simmons.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. So, just to get you into the spirit of this event, we're going to be running down with the entire IGN UK team our alternative awards for games, because IGN's got you covered already for like the normal stuff. We've got
too much coverage.
There's a lot of lists this year, and so we thought we'd give you loads more. Everyone's going to be presenting 2 awards. We're going to have separate panels as we go along, but I'm going to start
with the sexiest panel.
Yeah, well, this is the sexiest panel.
Why am I here?
You're sexy.
Oh, thanks.
I'd you.
I don't really know what to say to that.
That was complete silence, except the listeners won't be able to hear that Dale cackled in the booth.
I've thought about this before. There's nobody on our team that I would never go on.
That makes me feel less special, but okay.
You didn't like it a second ago.
I know, but I didn't realise he's sticking it in everything. It's like, good God.
Not necessarily sticking it in, just having a little tiddle around, maybe, with some of them.
Not going to lie, on a tight time limit here. We've got to get through 3 different panels.
Oh, you're not going to like my awards, mate.
So I'll start with the what I would call the most brevetous award title there is.
Okay.
Game of the Year, most likely to be forgotten in Game of the Year lists, but not this Game of the Year list, which I award to Monster Hunter World.
I can't believe this came out this year.
It was in January.
Yeah.
It was ages ago. Capcom's doing its new thing where it releases games really early in the year and you forget about them. That's going to happen to
It's probably good
Resi.
if you want the games that come out at the beginning of the year, but it's not so good for these kind of
awarding
awards.
things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thankfully, the other day they announced a huge expansion coming out next year, which is called Iceborne, and I'm very excited about. But this game, if you haven't played it yet, it's just amazing. It was genuinely a tussle not to make this my overall Game of the Year in our lists this year.
Wow.
Because I just think it's the best. I've been banging on about Monster Hunter for years at this point, and no one gives a shit. And as soon as it looks nice, everyone's like, oh, I'll give it a go. And they try it and they go, oh, that's why we never played it, because it's really hard and difficult and weird. But I just think it's incredible. It's just like a lovely, weird mix of zoology and like action and just stupid jokes and bad clothes.
Well, we actually played like a version of. We played like a really, really early version of it as a prepare to try video, like the Lost Archives, because that never went out.
Didn't it?
I know, it never went out. I think it was because when we filmed it, it was quite new footage, and then by the time that we were going to put it out, it became quite old footage, and we didn't do it. But we still have that somewhere, to be fair. And like that was a really good laugh, because it was you basically as party leader leading 3 numpties who've never played it before.
I remember one of the most embarrassing things I've done on video at this was reading out a line from a cat called a Grimmelkine, and I was going, the Grimmelkine said this, and like read it out, and you all just pissed yourself because you didn't realise that it was text coming up, and that I'd just be like, that's a Grimmelkine, my boys. So quite glad in retrospect that hasn't come out.
But that's the thing. Like, it feels like that is a game that is perfectly played like that. I think because I'm really annoyed that I actually haven't played Sea of Thieves at all. Ever. Yes. I've never even had a go at a preview or anything like that. And I feel
not on this list.
Yeah, not on this list. But that's another one that I think if I could get 4 buddies together to go do that, I'd have a brilliant time. I don't have an Xbox, but
that's hard.
I think that's partly why we didn't play it, because we haven't got Xboxes.
It's the best chat room ever made.
We got PlayStations coming out the wazoo. Too many, if anything.
That's what we're sitting on. It's just dozens of boxes. So that's the first. If you haven't played Monster Hunter World, very coincidentally, there is a free trial currently on at the moment.
The award-winning
Monster Hunter World.
Yes.
You can play it right now on PlayStation and Xbox.
Holy shit!
Enjoy yourselves. But enough about me. Gav, please read out your first award.
My first award is the game that made me realize. My first award
He's
welling up.
is the game that made me realize I am not well.
Okay.
So I played Red Dead Redemption 2. That is the game that won this award.
Well done. You'd be perfect at the Oscars.
I do feel that how can this be the first game? having worked with you for what, 4 years?
Yeah.
There must be many games that have made you realise that something's not quite
right. But this
right.
was, so basically what I explain is like, obviously Red Dead, I really like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, it's not my game of the year if I had to put a thing on it. It's God of War, but then that's not in this podcast. So, but I don't think I'm ever going to finish that game. I'm on chapter 5 now, and it's taken me yonks to get there because I get distracted very easily. But also, I really like the idea. Like when you guys were seeing it early, I really like this idea that you were all coming back with this information, being like, you can just do whatever you want. You can, you can make your own stories. So I kind of took that to the next level. And what I decided to do, I sort of workshopped it with Dale as an idea.
Because he's also not well.
Because he's also not well. He's gone now. He's gone, yeah.
He's got to do something wrong.
So basically, what I was doing was, anytime... So if you go on bounties, sometimes bounty hunters try to take your bounties. Have you had this happen to you?
Yes.
So you basically take a bounty, and what people will do is kind of like... Basically, you have 4 bounty hunters on you trying to take your bounty that you've got. So like, undo all the hard work you've done by killing you and then claiming the bounty themselves. I think that's a cool system that they've got in place. But obviously, that's really naughty. So what I was doing, anytime that bounty hunters tried to take my bounty, what I would do is kill all of them except for one. Then hogtie that person, take them to the train tracks where the train tracks split into 2. Then God. I would place the naughty bounty hunter on one of the sides of the tracks and then wait.
I like that your normal bounty's just sitting on the back of your horse. Like, what is going on?
And surely this must take ages.
Yeah, so basically the idea is the train will come and that deals out the justice. Like if they get run over by the train, that was their destiny. If it goes the other way, I cut them loose, I let them go. And yeah, it does take ages because I don't think the trains are on like, the 1920 from Emerald or anything like that. I think they, like I read somewhere in the middle of while I was waiting for like 15 minutes that they just spawn, but that hasn't actually ever been confirmed or anything like that. But it does take ages, and to the point where the moment I realized I wasn't well was when my girlfriend got home from work. And I'd been doing this all afternoon.
Oh my God.
Because it was such good fun.
Waiting for 15 minutes for a train.
Mate,
honestly, it's literally, you're doing commuting with it's commuting plus.
It's,
at least there's a twist to it.
Yeah. Also, mate, 15 minutes was like the shortest. Like it was long time I was waiting for this thing. Like I saw so much weather, so much like night sky, but it was stunning. But yeah, also my guy's wearing the psycho mask at the time as well, so all the footage I've got of it, he's just standing there with it's rain and lightning while the thing mask is going down. But anyway, Clara gets home from work and she was like, Clara plays video games and she hasn't started Red Dead yet. She was like, what are you doing? And I explained. She was like, is this a mission? And I was like, of sorts. And she was like, I genuinely feel a bit like uneasy about this. And I was like, oh yeah, but I didn't realize how weird it was until I was sitting next to someone that I love, and I could see myself getting less and less attractive to them as the seconds went on.
As Arthur stares out of the screen in his psycho mask at your faltering relationship.
But yeah, that's
what's your kill release ratio, roughly?
3 dead.
Yeah.
4 released.
Oh, okay.
So that's pretty good.
So there's
honour in there.
Yeah. But unfortunately, because they're bounty hunters, some of them wriggle. Like wriggle a lot because they do not want to get run over. So 2 of them end up dying anyway because when you cut them loose, they get a gun out and start shooting you. And I'm like, well, it's either me or you now, mate, isn't it? So but there you go. That is my award for game that made me realize I am not well. Red Dead Redemption 2.
From one franchise titan to another, Al, would you care to read out your first award?
Well, that's it. So my first award is for my first platinum,
which is really nice.
Yeah,
I know, right? Because
Dale's going mental in the booth.
Yeah.
There he is.
In sort of August, September this year, everybody was banging on about this massive franchise coming to PS4, and that so many people talking about how it was going to be their first platinum. I was like, you know what? It's about time that I took my platinum virginity.
Your platinum virginity.
And obviously sitting next to Dale, who's the biggest platinum whore I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
I thought, well, this is going to be it. So I took the plunge, and I'm happy to say that Paw Patrol on a Roll is my first platinum.
And if you are watching the video version, you'll see it's one of the big hitters on our list, so we had to honour it.
And I'd like to say, because Dale goes on about how hard some platinums are.
Yeah.
2.5 hours. Bang. Bosh. So easy, this platinum lark.
Before you started, Dale was asking what everyone's things were, and we told him that Paw Patrol was one for platinum. He was like, "Are we playing that soon?"
I know, exactly. I did think it's like it's a cheap platinum. It's got his name all over it because there are 16 missions. It takes about 10 minutes to finish each mission.
Yeah.
And to get platinum, you have to collect all of the little bones and all of the Paw Patrol badges.
What is Paw Patrol?
Oh my God. It's bigger than Spider-Man, I promise you.
Okay,
it's a kids' TV.
Can I just ask, were you actually playing this with your kids? Or was this mostly by yourself?
Well, no. Well,
that's it. Yeah. How much of the 2.5 hours without kids?
2 in the morning.
Whiskey.
Red Bull.
Most of it,
I'm going all night, boys.
80% of it was playing it with him.
Right.
But because he's 3, he'd miss some of the bones or the thingy gold paw things.
Yeah.
So I'd go back and 100% that level. Just to make sure.
While he's asleep, though.
Yeah, while he wasn't there.
Yeah, you're not embarrassing the kid in front of him.
Well, also, it's like, just give me that. Sake, this is how you do it.
You're off the force.
I know. So I'm very pleased with that because now I feel part of the gang, and it's
you are.
Also, I feel like I didn't invest a ridiculous amount of time doing something that's just thoroughly disappointing.
I know.
I did.
I know you did.
It was sad.
I know.
I know we're kind of taking the piss, but as a game, is it good, or is it?
Well,
because actually, this is one of the games on the list that I would wager the majority of our audience didn't even know existed, never mind played.
If you are a 3-year-old that is obsessed with Paw Patrol, it's fantastic.
Okay.
I would not recommend anybody else playing that game.
Okay.
It's super simple. There's not a lot to it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's platinum, isn't it?
Is it a platformer?
Yes.
Okay.
But literally, you cannot fail missions.
Okay.
If you get something wrong, it says, "No, you should do this," and then you go and do that, and then it does it. But that's all right.
More games should have that, if you ask me.
I'm imagining LA Noire.
Yeah.
Well, that's our next game, actually. I'm going to sit down with him.
Just a cat in trousers, like, slip from the sternum down. What happened?
Amazing.
Gav, second award, please.
My second award is the I would die in 30 seconds if this was real life awards. And that goes to Star Trek Bridge Crew. I don't know how much you guys have played of Star Trek Bridge Crew.
I haven't played any of it, much to my chagrin.
Well, I was thinking similar thing with Sea of Thieves. Like, if we had that setup, but such a ridiculous setup, like 3 or 4 VR headsets all hooked up together.
Yeah. I genuinely think it is like one of my favourite games of the last 5 years. I reckon I've probably played it like 4 or 5 times. That's it.
Do we need to? Did Bridge Crew come out this year? So are we talking specifically about the next generation?
Well, Bridge Crew didn't come out this year. Bridge Crew came out last year, but they released a next generation update, whiwhich makes it harder. That came out this year, which is why it's going in this list.
Good. I just wanted to make sure we didn't get any complaints. I knew all that.
But so basically, if you don't know what it is, in VR, you take on the role of someone on the Starship Enterprise, and you are either like the captain, engineering, tactical, and you have to work as a team to solve missions. So, but the cool thing about it is the captain can see everything. Everybody else doesn't have the same information as everyone. So if the 3 of us were playing and we weren't the captain, you can't see what I can see, and you can't see what I can control. So it's up to the captain to sort of
relay information,
being like, right, Joe is doing this, Gav is doing that, Al is doing that, and you solve missions together. And it's one of those things where it is quite hard because the best bits is obviously when it goes absolutely tits up. And that happens in every mission that I've played. Like, it's never gone fine.
Have you actually successfed completed a mission?
Absolutely, yeah, like a bunch. Because the thing is, I've had to start playing it like online with like strangers because I've played it with people that I know at like preview events, and also we did a prepare to try on it as well, where the 3 of us played it together. But I've like, when you just get that itch to play a game, I've had to start playing online with randoms. and it's not as good because
No, of
obviously it's
course.
not as funny. But you take it a little bit more seriously
was just
online.
about
It's a bit more like the job's real if they're strangers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It does feel like you are doing a job sometimes.
Yeah.
but it's in space.
Surely there are people who take being the captain way too seriously.
Yes, there
though.
are. Because people use it as a full role-playing thing.
course,
where
yeah.
people aren't talking like... Obviously, when me, Powers, and Krupa were doing it, we was like taking the piss and shouting and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas people are actually doing it as if they are on the actual...
Got people speaking in Klingon.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard any Klingon yet. But I'm a Vulcan. I play as a lady Vulcan who's hot as well.
Do you get like sexual harassment at work as a lady Vulcan?
No.
Good.
Um,
I'm pleased with because Star Trek is an idealized future.
Yeah, because
so-
I think they hear the voice and then they quickly realise that I am not a sexy lady. But honestly, because people take it so seriously, and I am taking it seriously because I want to win, but at the same time, I'm not taking it to the level of seriousness of some people. So, but people get annoyed at me for laughing and things like that because I find it's all hilarious.
Yeah.
But also, it does make me realise that if this was real, I'd be dead because it's hard to take things seriously when it's like you're taking down a Klingon bird of prey, and then like I've accidentally selected like the wrong ship a bunch of times because I like playing as tactical, so you get to shoot the photon torpedoes, and this because like the map is mad and it looks real, but then you're selecting what you think is an enemy and it's actually someone from Starfleet, and then you just hear the captain who's taking it very seriously behind you going, tactical, that is our ship you're firing at. Like, yeah, I can do that.
Well, they need to have better systems.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be that easy.
I like it's obviously it's a really hard one to recommend everyone go and play because it's you got to pay £200 to get a PSVR headset before, but if you can steal one maybe.
not to bring up Sea of Thieves again.
Yeah.
But it reminds me that like taking it seriously but not too seriously of that amazing YouTube video, which we may have talked about on the podcast before, of the guys role playing in Sea of Thieves. So one of them is
fantastic,
the captain, and a giant legendary ship is coming up on their tiny little sloop. Yeah, and you just hear one guy just go, "Captain!" Which I love because he's finding it so funny, but he still finds the time to call him Captain, not John. So good.
That does happen though. Like even when we played for Try for like an hour. I was calling Powers Captain, or Cap, which he loved.
Cap, of course he did.
Also, putting Powers in charge.
Yeah, that's the best way of doing it, I think.
I think you see the benefit.
Yes, of course.
Al, your final award
is it's the game that I loved as much as I hated, and it also made me hate myself.
Okay.
Paw Patrol 2.
No, do not. That'd be my second platinum. So this goes to Spider-Man, which is a game that I equally loved but equally despised because, man, that swinging is fine.
Yeah.
But me, it's boring as shit as you go around collecting all the bags, doing all of the crimes, and this, that, and the other. But I still did it.
Yeah.
And that's...
the
why?
crimes, man. The waiting when you would collect, because for the platinum you have to do 5 crimes in every area.
Yeah.
Waiting minutes in between crimes, just swinging about.
Oh my God.
Yeah, now.
I know, and it's to the point where it was almost becoming a science, where I was like, well, I know that I've got to get this far away from that location.
Right.
And then it'd be straight over the police radio, thank God for that, just go down. And they just got harder, and then once I cleared all the outposts, it's like, there's another lot of outposts that you haven't seen these ones.
Jesus.
Oh, and then the convicts, it's like, oh, it just kept on layering it. So that maybe would have been my other platinum, but then I spoke to Joe and you said it was just soul destroying.
I just felt. What do you have to do for the platinum?
You just have to do everything. But not. You don't have to like 5 or 3-star all the challenges, which is amazing because I would have killed myself. But it was just like. I just got to the end and I felt nothing. I felt no pleasure.
Well, and also like you need to save up your whatever the
Spidey bucks.
But Spidey bucks, that'll do.
Yeah.
To unlock all the suits, and you need all the suits unlocked to do it. I didn't realise that until I just wasted a load on like abilities that I'd never ever used.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do have to go and gold star some of those challenges.
It's
like balls. So I really enjoyed playing it, but thank God when it finished, I was like, I never ever want to see that game again.
Yeah.
And also that Scorpion level. with the trippy out scorpion level.
That's all right.
That is the biggest bag of shit I've seen in the game for ages.
I've talked about it a lot on this podcast. Like, I'm never going to play that game. I played it for 3.5 hours with you, and I feel like my experience of that 3.5 hours, from what I've talked to people about, that it doesn't change.
The base gameplay doesn't really.
Yeah.
I would say, like, I've been quite down on it. I loved that story by the end.
Okay, right,
I truly loved. I thought it was a great Spider-Man story, and the DLC is going in a direction where I'm like, oh, actually, this is a good Spider-Man story too.
Can I do that without having to collect backpacks?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think like there's a few bits where it makes you do the first time. So you, the problem is you've played the worst bit of the game. The first 3 hours are the worst bit, and then once the story starts kicking in, you're like, oh, this is actually Peter Parker, and this is actual Spider-Man stories going on.
Okay,
it's way better.
Most of the time, all of the side bits, like the crimes and stuff, you don't have to do. Occasionally, it'd be like, you've got to go and solve one crime before you can go and do the next mission, but you'll do that in minutes. So you'll whiz through it.
Maybe I'll do that.
You should.
Yeah, because I want the story. But I just didn't like it.
Or just do one of those mad things on YouTube where they've put it all together as a movie. I've never understood that. Right, that's our first Panels Awards. Thank you very much, Alan Gav.
Thank you.
Sweet.
And after what I'm assuming is going to be incredibly entertaining and well-produced jingle from Simon Cardy, we're going to have our next panel. Wow, would you listen to that jingle that Cardy made that he has to make now? I'm now joined by panel 2, which is Dale Driver.
Hello.
And Rory Powers.
Saving the best for second, baby.
Yeah, baby. I want some energy. The other two were very down on things. I want to feel some big noise from you guys. We're going to jump straight into Dale's first award. What is it?
Best dick and ball bag.
Yeah!
So, as everybody knows, this year was the year of the dick and ball bag in video games.
Yes.
Was it?
Yes. What?
There were 2 whole games with dick and ball bags.
Right.
Come on, mate. So
we got some Batman dick as well on the side.
It's worth pointing out that Rust released out of early access for the first time this year, a game in which you get a randomly generated penis and balls when you first start. As
3
your
games.
Character.
Easy.
Is there any way to like re-roll if you get a little peanut?
You just have to restart the game. Which I love because people were really upset about it.
Yeah.
So
Cardi's shouting things. Oh, and horses in Red Dead.
Oh God, yeah, it is
No,
the
that
year
was
of dick and
just
ball bag.
balls, I believe.
There are dicks in it.
Yeah. Would you ever see the dick? I don't think
You see little hints of it.
Yeah, you
It's
definitely
just
see the
never
ball
in
bag.
its
There's
fully
no
extended
dev team
position.
working on horse schlongs. That's not happening.
There absolutely was somebody working on the ball bags though.
Someone.
Oh yeah, balls. That's fine. Yeah.
It's just one sad man on dicks.
So
Oh man, you worked on Red Dead. Yeah. What did you do?
What'd you do?
So Soul
Horse
Calibur
food.
6 is not my winner.
Oh shit.
But it is a bloody good runner-up.
I mean,
Okay.
we should mention the YouTube video that we saw just before we started the podcast, if you'd like to describe that.
Yeah, so I was just refreshing my memory on how you make the dick and balls in Soul Calibur 6. It's just done through the custom character creator with cylinders and apples.
Cylinders,
and hearts.
apples, and hearts.
So yes, I found a video where it instructs you how to make it, and the commentary on the video was particularly good.
It was a man who sounded suspiciously like IGN's Jonathan Dornbush, who at the start of the game said, "If you're a gamer, you like huge cocks as much as I do."
But even all the way through it, he found so many different words for the versions of cock, like saying schlong and penis, and also every time he changed it up a little bit, it was really.
It was
really
a good script.
Yeah.
You've taken time to write that script.
But it's not Soul Calibur.
It is Soul Calibur 6.
No, I'm saying it's not Soul Calibur
Oh,
that
no,
wins.
it's not the
won
winner.
the
No.
award.
I mean, Soul Calibur 6 gets extra points because you can do cock thrust moves as well with Voldo. He has like a hip thrust move, so you can actually hit people with your dick.
I believe it's called Mantis style.
Right. But no, the winner is Assassin's Creed Odyssey for Zeus's giant dick.
Well, in terms of compared to a human man or woman.
Yeah, compared
But
to
for a
like,
god, he's not packing much heat.
not
So
really.
we're talking about the
in
statue,
ratio to the
right?
statue, it's not a massive dick. But
Okay.
in relation to you in the game, when you climb it and especially dangle from that ball bag, it is pretty huge.
It's quite. I'm impressed that a game put thought into whether Zeus was cut or uncut.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what was he?
He is uncut.
Yes.
Which is
Uncut.
why you can hang from it, because you get a little grip in the,
Well,
in the fold.
the
yeah, you
tip.
can hangle from the penis. Hangle?
Hangle and dangle.
Hangle and dangle.
I've got to hangle from the dangle,
I'm
baby.
hangling from my penis. You can hangle from. I'm doing it again. You can dangle from the penis, but you can also drop down and do it from the balls as well. If you spin the camera around, you get an absolutely beautiful shot of your character just hanging off, swinging off a ball bag.
That's proven by the fact that you got onto the Sun's website with that picture.
Yeah, the Sun wrote an article about a tweet I did about hanging from a ball bag. So that's not worth an award. I don't know why.
I think it's the only valid excuse I've seen for anyone ever having a pinned tweet. I hate pinned tweets, but yours is great.
It has to stay there forever. I have to remember that.
Perfect.
What else was I going to say? So Zeus's ball bag. Yeah, completely blanked.
What do you mean you've completely blanked?
You can't say anyway. Zeus's ball bag, and then not say anything
There was
else.
something
after
else
that.
I was just going to say, and it's completely gone from my mind.
If Zeus, like, you know how a lot of people have names for their penises.
Yeah.
Mine is obviously the Master Sword. What would Zeus's be? The lightning rod, maybe?
Oh, now that, I mean,
Because that's his thing, right?
Maybe just call it Odin as to piss off another chief god.
That's not a bad
just
idea.
remember my thought. So what it is when you dangle from it, the character actually says, "I probably shouldn't be doing this as well." Although I was disappointed there's no like achievement or trophy attached to that. Surely,
I mean, it would be the most obvious achievement of all time. Like,
I still want it. Still want it.
It is worth pointing out that's a dick and balls that is visible. Like they've probably had to work out like draw distance calculations so that you can see that dick and balls from a mile away.
Yeah, it is magnificent.
Like it's dick and balls probably have led to some technological advances in gaming this year, and what more can we be happy about our medium for than that?
What a great year for
It's
games.
incredible. Rory, give us an
Yes.
award. What's your
My
first
award this year is for the best game that I can play with one hand.
Football Manager on the iPhone.
It is not Football Manager on the iPhone. And actually, a good runner-up was, if it was released in 2018, I don't remember, was Super Mario Run?
No,
That was last year.
When was that?
Yeah.
Okay, well then there was only one main contender. And that was Pokemon Let's Go.
Right.
Eevee and Pikachu. I know this game can be played on the Switch fully with the two controls, but I was lucky enough to get my hands on the Pokemon.
The whole point is that it's one hand.
My
Your
hands
hand.
on the Pokemon Go Plus, which is obviously the little Pokeball that comes with it. And man, once you have been able to play a game with one hand, there's no going back, guys. There's no going back. I'm trying to play Overwatch with one hand now. I'm trying to play COD with one hand. It's amazing. It like, especially because we're people who like to do two things at once. We like to play games while we're listening to a podcast. We like to watch TV while we're like cleaning our rooms.
And now we can finally jack off whilst playing
Jack
the game.
off and play
While playing
Pokemon at the
Pokemon.
same time.
So explain how this works to me, because I've not played Pokemon Let's Go.
Basically, by connecting this, like, it's a Pokeball essentially.
Yeah.
I should have brought it with me because I do actually have it on my desk. You connect via Bluetooth, and it has a little joystick that you can also press, which is like your A button.
So you know the
Okay.
button on a Pokeball?
Yeah.
That's a little nipple style nub for moving around.
Yeah, so press the nips to hit A, and then there's a little button at the top to press B. And because Pokemon is quite a simple game in terms of like what you actually have to do in combat and things, all you do is just move with the joystick and press A and B with your thumb and your finger. And that's it. You can literally play a whole game. Like, we were on a flight recently on a work trip, and I was just back in my chair,
So you got your
holding this Pokeball with the Switch just in front of me on the
you got
table.
Switch on the kickstand.
Yeah, just absolutely relaxing.
To the point where I saw two amazing things on this flight. One, you get a wrist strap with it, so Rory quickly worked out that he could literally throw the Pokeball out of his hand to catch Pokemon.
All of the instructions say
safe?
do not throw the Pokeball.
Yeah.
Like, you should not throw it. But you also, it gets a little wrist strap and a little finger
Lovely.
grip thing, so you can actually kind of throw it.
I genuinely saw Rory fall asleep, drop the Pokeball as he fell asleep, and a Pokeball flew out and hit a Pokemon. It didn't get a catch, sadly.
Damn it! That
Because-
would've been amazing.
But yeah, like I saw a Pokeball get thrown by you falling asleep. That's how intuitive this game is.
I've
It's
had both
absurd.
of our awards been about handling balls so far.
I know, it's incredible.
I know, my third one is not any better as well.
We should also point out that Pokeball Plus, for some reason, cannot be muted and makes quite a lot of noise. So on
that
a
sounds
flight,
fun.
If there's a way to mute it, I haven't discovered that yet. So it was just blaring out Pokemon
my
noises.
God.
the whole
thankfully,
flight.
everyone on a flight wears headphones, as far as I can tell, except babies. And who cares about babies?
No one cares
They
about
don't care
babies.
about you.
Yeah, get out of the way, babies.
It's a good point about babies that I've just made. Babies don't care about you.
They don't care about
Do
me.
we
Why
like?
should I care about them? Yeah.
Piss them off.
Well, who's you? Like a stranger or
Yeah.
their parents? I feel like they care about their parents.
Do they?
Joe.
They're constantly annoying their parents more than
Yeah,
anyone.
but they've got demands, haven't they?
Just what a baby would say.
Yeah, it's a fucking, you a baby in disguise.
Classic baby.
It's like Men in Black, the little alien in that guy's head. You're a baby inside a Dale model.
He's like, they're on to me. Some of the mothership.
I did not know that this is where this awards section was going to go.
Who knows?
Dale, what's your second award?
So my first one was largely positive. Largely.
Lol.
Keyword. Second one is very negative. It's the "Can you believe this actually came out this year?" / "No one gives a shit" award for Metal Gear Survive.
It is insane that came out this year.
So
Doesn't
harsh.
that feel like forever ago though?
Wasn't there any redeeming qualities in that game? Like, wasn't it?
I know a few people who liked it.
Yeah.
I never played it beyond the beta, to be honest. So it may well be good somewhere down the line, but it wasn't for me. And as a massive Metal Gear Solid fan, it just felt like a bit of a slap in the face releasing that game. It was nothing. It could have been called anything else. It wasn't a Metal Gear Solid game. It just used that engine.
You got to move
so
digits,
weird,
man.
yeah.
You got to move those boxes.
Yeah.
I feel like calling it anything other than Metal Gear would have been a really negative impact on sales, even though the name
I
itself
don't
was a
know.
very negative impact on the franchise.
Call it Metal Gear Survive was a negative impact on sales as well, surely.
Yeah.
It does feel like that could be Konami's slogan these days. You gotta move digits.
Gotta move digits.
We've got pairs and we got this. Hell, please let us sell something.
It's just when I was going through the list of games this year and I saw it came out, I was like, off, no way did that come out this year. It just feels like who's talking about that game now? That is an online game, that's built in theory to last for a while.
Yeah.
You're still playing Overwatch every day. When did that come out? 2016?
Yeah, those servers are going to be closed by March next year. That's my prediction.
It's massively disappointing. I would still be interested to see like a non-Kojima Metal Gear game that's a single player game to see what they do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is absolutely not it.
The barefaced balls of putting Snake in the intro to that
I
game.
know, right?
Unbelievable.
I know.
Just like, and
That's
then he
mad.
literally flies away on a helicopter, and you're like, "Oh, I see what you've done. That's Kojima. He's left you behind in a f***ing alien desert where no one likes you. We're
Madness.
Konami.
That's basically it, yeah.
It's short and
it.
sweet,
Yeah.
I like it.
mate. Rory, your second and final award.
My final award. Look, when I submitted this award, I didn't realize our section was going to be quite this grotty. I thought this would have been the only grotty one.
Okay.
My second award is for the most searched for game title on Pornhub in 2018.
Nice.
It's the only stats-based award in the entire list.
It is.
Yours can be
Yeah.
backed up with fact.
Science.
Yeah.
And jacking off.
Yeah, literally no one can argue with you on this one. So well done.
Believe it or not, guys, the most searched for game on Pornhub in 2018 is Fortnite.
Oh
is
my
there,
god.
Is there any way of checking which skins people are looking for?
I hope not.
Because they've got to be looking for particular things in Fortnite that turn them on.
Well, that's
like
it,
it's,
because-
Fortnite itself is not a sexy game.
No, and like it'd be different if it was like any other like huge game where you have characters.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, Tomb Raider or something. Like
Right,
you
yeah.
think that would be a popular one, but Fortnite's just skins.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know the names of half the skins.
Like, do you think there's a big drift porn community? Do people like
Maybe.
drift? He's got a sexy mask.
I guess it's just people like porn parodies and they think what's popular right now,
Yeah.
maybe? I don't know. Like,
Is it themed? Are there like 100 naked people on an island? And you're like, I don't, like what is it?
Last one to dies.
I mean, that sounds pretty good, to be fair.
the opposite of last one to it's the opposite of normal Fortnite.
It's insane. I thought that was so interesting because I guess it makes sense. It's like the most popular game in the world, the most popular game to have
Yeah.
porn made about it. But I thought that was really strange.
How did you come across this information?
Pornhub released their stats.
Oh, did they?
They did, yeah, because I wanted to include Fortnite in the awards somehow because I think it's a great game. And it's one of those weird games where no one really knows when it, well, I don't know when it officially came out, but it kind of re-releases itself every
Yeah.
season. It's like a whole new game. So I was searching online and I was like, okay, well, what can I think of to include it in the awards? And bam, top article. Number one on Pornhub.
That's quite amazing.
Yeah.
You didn't go and like verify this on a works computer, did you?
I haven't yet, Dale.
I mean, I do want, like, you brought this up. You have to choose something about Fortnite to fap over. What are you going to go for?
Exactly. Like, is it just maybe it's just like on Pornhub? There's a ton of like really hot Fortnite kill reels. So it's like 720 no scope with a crossbow.
But there is a thing recently where Pornhub's become a place where people leak video game trailers. Have you seen this?
Really?
Yeah, because as soon as it goes up on YouTube, people have like
flags.
Publishers have flags. Pornhub, you're not going to have a publisher who's got flags there.
No flags on Pornhub.
Do what you like. I think Fallout 76 leaked on Pornhub.
Oh my god!
Was it just the trailer, or was it like the trailer?
I think
and
it was
like someone checked it in, like the foreground. You're like, oh.
And then it comes up with multiplayer only, and it just droops. That was the internet's reaction to Fallout 76.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Very good. Well, I mean, but I want to ask, like, which skin would you do it to?
I don't know. I don't know enough of the.
You
skin
play
names.
Fortnite all the time.
I
must
don't
be
know
able to
the names
describe
of the
them.
You must have got a
names.
boner over Fortnite once.
I'd like to see Drift doing something.
You'd like Drift. Just because
Yeah.
you cosplayed at him. That's
Yeah.
just... I suppose that's masturbation. No, you win. Well, thank you very much for your awards, boys. And now for an entirely separate new jingle from Simon Cardy to introduce our next panel. Cardy, thanks for that jingle. The second entirely new jingle you've made for this podcast.
a lot of work you're giving
Is that
me.
what he's doing? I've not been on so far.
It's amazing.
Bespoke jingles.
He's really throwing in the effort this week. So thank you so
Finally.
much. I'm joined by third and final panel, Simon Cardy,
Hello.
producer extraordinaire, jingle maker, genius, and Daniel Krupa.
That's an absolute piss take. That is.
I'm just buttering him up because he's got to do all loads of work.
Buttery boy.
We just found out he's got to bleep some of this.
Oh, good luck, mate.
We didn't come into this podcast knowing that.
Less than a day
What about
to do all
grok? What's a grok? Have you done it all in the last segment? This has got to be grok free.
That last segment is one of the grottiest things we've ever done on this podcast.
Let's keep this
It's
as
incredible.
clean as possible just so I have less work to do.
Well then, Cardy, why don't you start us off with something nice and clean? Your
Maybe I
first
will.
award.
Well, it's actually something that gets me going. So
It's got a name for it.
it's the game I spent the most time with this year. In brackets, yes, even more than Football Manager.
Oh,
So it's on brand yet so off brand.
Oh my god! Oh, wow!
It's a little game.
the Cardi brand guidelines is something we
Yeah.
have on our shared drive.
Yeah, it's like a inch thick folder of stuff.
He likes Moo Moo. He doesn't like wasabi.
I do like wasabi.
He does, yeah.
Don't put me in that.
He doesn't.
It's a little game called Hold Down.
I love Hold Down.
It's a mobile game for your Androids and your iPhones.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh, you've played it on both because you've recently
have.
converted.
I have
How
converted.
does the experience vary for you, Joe?
It's harder on Android because my phone's bigger and I keep tapping the wrong
Oh,
bits.
your hand's too small.
They are, and I've got big old hands.
I've got little old hands.
Unbelievable. Look at us, the original odd couple.
So Hold Down is
Right.
a little twist on your classic Brick Breaker. It's kind of, you're excavating to the centre of planets. I'm not sure why. Science.
And also, nothing about it looks like you're excavating to the
Because
centre
it's
of
there.
planets.
It's just massive, like, cylindrical, well, not the rounded edged rectangles
Yeah. Ooh.
with numbers on. And
What
you
kind
just,
of crazy planet is this?
I'm going to slap some B-roll on this to explain a lot of it for
Yeah.
me because it's hard to explain.
And in audio form, good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you. It's just look it up yourself. No, if you like a brick breaker, and who doesn't like a brick breaker?
They're so good.
Yeah, but I've spent.
You see people playing them so often on like public
Yeah.
transport.
It's a game for anyone.
But this is the interesting thing about Hold Down is that I think
I didn't develop it.
what Cardi hasn't gotten to yet is that the point of this particular game is you're not working with a single ball.
No.
You build up the number of balls you're firing at any one time, and those numbers are corresponding to how many hits those bricks take to break.
And you start off with what's the minimum? Is it like 5?
I think you start with 1.
So you start with 1.
Yeah.
So it has kind of roguelike elements to it.
Does it?
Roguelike
Because you're
brick
getting
breaker?
as far as you can in the level, then
Right,
going
then
back,
upgrading, coming back, yeah.
increasing your ball capacity, increasing. I've forgotten the upgrades. 'cause I
Crystal
upgraded so
capacity.
long ago. Crystals
Crystals
are what you use to upgrade with, and you collect those throughout a level. And then you have to get to the core. So I think there's 4 or 5 levels.
Yeah.
Can you actually get to the core?
You can.
Yeah,
Like in No
you get
Man's
to the
Sky?
core of each one. Yeah,
Ooh.
but it is infinitely more satisfying.
Yeah.
The last level is
Like a cream
the
egg.
black hole, which is just
There
basically
is
means
no
you can
core, it's
play
endless
forever.
mode.
And I think my record is getting 992 meters.
1027,
into-
baby.
I was about to ask you, but you just tooted your own horn without me even having
Yeah.
a go on it.
Easy.
So it's It's made my commutes so much quicker.
Yeah.
Like I have a 35-40 minute train in the morning every day. It makes it last about 10 minutes.
It's incredible.
It's amazing. It just played on flights. Nothing goes. Even Football Manager maybe doesn't make time fly. Like hold down.
Time
So
dilation
And
game.
further on Rory's point, very playable with one hand. You would play with one. If you play it with two hands, you're insane.
Yeah, you're
What are you doing with the other one?
Playing Pikachu.
playing
You can
Pikachu.
play-
I'll just play Pikachu, mate.
You can play Pokemon and hold down at the same time.
You could.
On public transport, not a lot of people sit next to you, are they? Like,
no,
let's give him
Especially
a
if he's
wide
stretching
berth.
out.
Yeah.
Was it-
Just like this. There's a lot worse things I'll be doing on public transport.
Yeah.
Yep.
Eating chicken. That stinks.
Awful.
Who does it?
Stop it. Have you heard about this thing in Japan where they're making low odour KFC so you can eat it on public transport?
No.
That's apparently a thing.
Very considerate, the Japanese.
It won't
They're
taste
very
as good.
No.
But yeah, hold down. You brought me onto it.
It's amazing.
You've influenced me once again.
I'm an influencer. Not in the technical sense where people send me things.
no.
But
But you can make him do what you want.
yeah.
Make jingles for it.
Yeah, you'll have. That's the thing about Hold Down is you'll have seen people. If you go on public transport, you'll have seen people playing multi-ball brick breakers a lot recently because for some reason they're everywhere at the moment. But Hold Down is the best.
In
Yeah,
the
it has a
zeitgeist.
And
satisfaction to it.
I've tried like 4. I was going to do a feature on the genre,
Wow.
and then I went, oh, Hold Down.
And
That's
you got
the
a
best.
grip.
Yeah, more or less.
But yeah, hold down. Get it down
So
you.
good.
Hold down.
Get it down your hole.
Krupa, award number 1 from you.
My first award is another mobile game.
Ooh.
Aren't we cultured? Yes, we have phones. It is. I'm trying to find. So, best game at reminding me why I like being single. So it's Florence.
You can kiss me whenever you want.
So I broke up with someone like a year and a bit ago, and Gav was like, "You should play this game," and I was like, "Oh, cool, I'll play it." I spent ages clearing up someone's bloody shoes, just putting them on. It's like, yeah, this is good. This is. I don't want to be clearing up someone's shoes. And there's a bit. So it's about a woman. She's like not really happy with her life. She falls in love with this guy who's a musician. He moves in, and it's basically like a story game. It has like very simple game mechanics, but they're implemented really well in terms of the story. So when you go on your first date, sorry.
I was going to say it's like a story game, a story told through the medium of mini games.
Yes, and the mini games are so well implemented into the story in some really smart ways. Like I think the best one is the conversation mechanic. So when you go on your first date, it's like a word balloon, and you have to fill in the word balloon with like basically jigsaw pieces, and it's like a little puzzle, and when you complete it, you say something correctly and they like it. And as you get to know each other, the puzzles become simpler because you are more in tune and you know each other, and it's like communication. This is brilliant. He moves in, and then there's a mini game where you've got to decide what stuff of his do you keep. None of it. He doesn't play cricket anymore. We're not having a cricket bat in the house.
Cricket in it?
No, he's like bringing all his records. You're never going to listen to them. You don't have a vinyl player. Get rid of that. So it's basically just all my stuff.
Yeah.
It's not really. I let him have the cricket bat.
Okay.
A little nod to his youth.
Yeah.
And then you start having difficulties in a relationship, and this is where it returns to some of those mechanics, like the conversation one, where when you're fighting, it's going really quickly, and nothing you say fits together anymore. And which is actually a really poignant moment in the game where you're like, this used to be so easy, and I'm saying the right things, I assume you are, but literally just talking at odds. And it's such a great way of conveying that through just such a simple mechanic.
I haven't played. Is there multiple endings then? Can it end?
No,
I don't think
it's
so.
a
I think
single.
it's pretty much a set journey, but
Okay.
it does lots of interesting stuff, and it's got a lovely art style and very nice music too.
And what's the woman's name?
She's called Florence.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
You
You facetious git.
you've made me think much more fondly about a game that I didn't really enjoy that much.
Yeah.
I thought it was quite dull, but
Yeah.
you've told it in a very smart
Unlike
way.
Hold Down, I don't think it is available on Android, is it?
I think
So
it
that's
might be iOS only.
Yeah, that's why I
There
haven't
you
played it,
go.
I think.
But yeah, like
Bastards. I think it's the guy who made Monument Valley made it, or something like that.
perhaps.
Maybe wrong.
But yeah, pain in the arse putting away someone's shoes.
That's your takeaway.
Put
from
them away when you
Florence.
get home.
Bloody hell, Cardi.
Hello.
Second award, please.
My second award is the game that made me feel like my PSVR wasn't a gigantic waste of money.
This is probably a very applicable award to dozens of people.
So I bought my... When did the PS4 came out? Like a year and a half? 2 years ago? At least,
remember,
wasn't
mate.
it? Well, I
Year and a
probably
half,
spent
I
about 300 quid, whatever it was when it launched. And I, at the time, for a few months, I was enjoying it, having used it fairly regularly. Batman was incredible.
Do you ever watch films on it?
I like watched episodes of TV. I couldn't do
Sounds
more
like a
than
great
that.
novelty, but like I wonder if
I
it's
played
actually...
Red Dead in it for like 10 minutes the other day, and I got all sweaty around my face.
I
was
played
like,
one map of Overwatch. I was like,
really sick.
I was trying to play as Hanzo. Everything's out of focus over there.
That's the weird thing. Yeah, it's like
I was like Walrus.
Yeah,
horrible.
can't do it. But yeah, I enjoyed it at the time. Like games like Batman, I thought were brilliant.
Yeah.
Haven't gone back to them though. But then Astrobot is the game I'm going to talk about. Came out, and that is like nothing's put, I don't think, a smile on my face more playing a game than that this year. It is just so fun.
How do you qualify that with a game? Because it was like, you've been working with me and Joe for a year.
come on, mate.
Yeah, but you make me cry.
As well.
Yeah.
When we kiss you, 'cause-
Peaks and troughs, isn't it?
But I also want to package another little game called Tetris Effect in with this, because that in VR is also an
Oh, is
incredible
that against
experience.
the rules, isn't it?
Are you
No,
allowed
no,
to
no.
suggest two things but not have a
Thought we'd given
winner?
it the award
I
as
have
well.
included
No.
in parenthesis a shout out
It's a runner-up.
Oh, okay.
to Tetris Effect.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I've just fell back in love with my PSVR, which I didn't see happening about 2 months ago.
Nah.
And yeah, it's just because it's got Astrobot it's a fairly standard platformer.
Yeah.
But actually being in it made me think what you could do with just a standard game. Like even something like, I don't particularly love Crash Bandicoot. I think it's
Why did you
perfectly
look at
fine.
the camera for
I
that?
looked at Dale.
Oh, I
'cause he
see.
loves Crash Bandicoot.
Like a maniac.
He does. He's shaking his head. I know he does.
What a turncoat.
I don't know.
It's all
But
about
even a game like that,
spiralling,
if you were just behind Crash Bandicoot looking around, it just makes that game 10 times better.
Well, it's the number of ways it learns to play, or it learns, the
Yeah.
number of ways it uses your perspective to make the game more interesting. So, like
Yeah.
hiding secrets out of your way.
Yeah.
Or just little things like there's one point where you look into a camera and you realize that you in the game are this like mad robot
Yeah,
head
it's mad.
thing. And like just playing with you going like, and then you just sit there going, moving your controller around like, oh, that's me in it.
The moment, like, I think my favourite moment in the game was when you go, I don't know how much of it you've played, you go underwater for the first time.
Oh, I haven't done
You're
that.
basically on rails and you start above sea and you just slowly go in, you're like, I'm going underwater, but I'm not wet.
Oh my
I'm
God.
not wet.
Did you,
I'm smiling.
did you
but
get
I'm not
that,
wet?
Did you get that weird thing where it made you feel cold?
No.
I got that once with went underwater in some VR game and I felt colder. It was strange. Like my
Oh, that's
body.
weird.
I've got a very receptive little brain.
Very suggestible.
Yeah. If I was hypnotized, I'd do anything.
Yeah, but I just think it's a fun game.
And that's Creeper.
And that's my award. I just think it's a fun game. So my second
Video game critic, Simon Cardy. Fun.
my second and final award. Bloody hell! Best game in which you creepily watch someone sleeping and kill nice animals.
Yes.
This is Shadow of the Colossus, the remake essentially. I've never really played Shadow of the Colossus before.
Neither had I.
I tried when it came out in HD remaster, got some way into it, found it a little bit difficult to wrestle with, so left it and then played the remaster remake. It's a remake, and I thought I could understand why it's a classic. I love the structure of it. I love how simple it is. I love periodically you go back and just look at a woman sleeping weirdly and
you
just
love
like, right.
You did that in Florence as well.
Yeah, I do that a lot. That's why I've broken up with a lot of people. I just watch them sleeping.
Yeah.
Why not?
Sometimes with a knife.
It's a hobby.
Sometimes not.
Yeah.
They don't like it. But yeah, I thought it was an incredible experience. We did like a whole series on it as well. So I played it and then watched Rory play it, which is quite frustrating because I'm not just playing into that thing, because you realise, because I did the same thing, I had to look up some help because it's sometimes not very clear what you're meant to do with some of those.
Yes.
Especially some of the end ones, I think. But yeah, it was really cool to see what this game I've read so much about over the years is actually like.
I think it's quite unfortunate it came out in a year with so many standout games, because in another year that would be my game of the year. I think it genuinely jumped straight to the top of like, this could be one of the best games I've ever played.
Yeah,
like,
and I
just
love
for how it ties together.
I was in the same boat as you. I tried 3 or 4 times to play the original Shadow of the Colossus, and I just couldn't get along with the controls at all. And this just made me fall in love with that game. Like, it is now one of my favourite games ever.
I love it's so completely contrary to most open world games in that it is empty.
Yeah.
And it's a dead world and there's not a billion markers. There's one thing at a time pretty much.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere when you ride out for the first time and it's just empty, and it's particularly in this remake, it's just absolutely beautiful and melancholic and weird. And yeah, it's just so you wouldn't get a game like that because it's so simple in structure. It's like, go do this puzzle boss, go do this another one, and it's like that is that for the entire game.
Yeah, so good.
It's beautiful as well.
What an
That was the
incredible
most
thing.
beautiful game I think I'd ever played. But
I've got
then
so many
that's been
screenshots of that.
beaten by God of War, then Forza, then Red Dead this year.
Yeah, this
I
has
think-
been nuts.
I think
some beautiful
yeah.
games. A lot of good-looking grass this year. Basically.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry,
Best
I've
grass
just
award.
One for
That's another bleep.
the Alan Titchmarsh Award for best grass.
Best doobie. That's Titchmarsh.
I've got one last award, boys, because I did one at the start and doing one at the end. Bookend.
What game's that?
It is my award for what I genuinely believe to be the actual best detective game of all time, which is Return of the Obra Dinn, which I'm delighted to say is in the actual Game of the Year awards list for IGN, and it's in this list because I have never played anything like Obra Dinn. Have either of you played any of them?
I'm waiting for my break,
now.
and
Yeah,
I'm
I've
looking
got it on my
forward to
laptop.
it very much.
It's firstly, it's beautiful. It looks like a mad. Well, everyone says it's 1-bit like old Macintosh games.
Yeah.
To me, it looks, because I don't have that reference, it's like you're walking into a Game Boy.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
like
it.
weird dot matrix. It's very strange.
But it's a first-person world that you're walking through, and it is a game in which you are you're an insurance adjuster, but with a magic pocket watch, and you're on an abandoned ship, and you're
Bernard Watch.
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
And the magic pocket watch lets you travel to the moment, a frozen moment, as someone's died. And you have to work out the fates of 60 people on this ship.
From the perspective of an insurance broker.
Yeah. You're working out...
Now we're talking.
Yeah, and you're working out who those people were based on very scant information. So if you're lucky, someone's name will be said just before... You hear, like, seconds before their death, but you don't see who's saying it. And then you can work out names from that. Or you have to work it out from, like, 3 illustrations of the ship made by the ship artist. Or just work it out through clothing. Like, that guy is wearing the bosun's clothes, because you've got, like, a journal with lots of information about everyone who would be on a ship, and how they died and who killed them. And it is like the best 8 hours of thinking I've done all year.
I had in my head it was only a couple of hours. It's that long.
It's that long if you want to really properly do it. Like,
good.
you can finish it without like finding everyone, but you don't get the best ending.
It's made by the chap who made Papers, Please, right?
It is, and it's got a similar. He's obsessed with documents. He loves documents. Like this, there's a document. There's a literal. There's the pleasure of leafing through pages of a journal to find stuff and be like, I've got to check the index for that. Like, there's something so nice about it, and no other game captures that idea of being a detective. Just going, shit. If that person's that person, then they've got to be in part. And you're like traveling through. Like back and forth through the history of this ship in its disasters.
Because I really liked her story.
Yeah.
How much do you need to like? I took quite a lot of notes playing that. Do you need to take notes playing this, or do you need like a real world?
The game gives you the opportunity to make notes in a sense, but you can. There are elements of it where you'd want to write something down just to go like, come back here later.
Can you do that? I do that thing when I played The Witness. Got the platinum for that one. My greatest achievement in life.
Well done.
I didn't take notes. I just took screenshots.
Greatest achievement in
So
life.
you just take screenshots with your laptop. Would that work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lovely.
But there's a
Top tip.
The beautiful thing about it is that it doesn't go down that her story road of leaving it completely blank. Like, it gives you the mechanic is that if you get 3 people completely right, so name, fate, and who killed them or what killed them, it then goes bang, bang, bang. Those 3, you have just completed 3.
Right, okay.
And
almost like in the Cluedo sense, you've got the 3 parts.
Yeah, and it enshrines them. Like, it then changes from you scribbling into the book into like written, into like typed into the book, and to show you that's the end of that report.
So can you get it wrong?
You can get things wrong. It just won't tell you you've got them wrong until you realise
So you can't
that
progress without getting it right?
you can progress. You can see every fate in sequence without getting any right. But it will tell you when you've got 3 right at a time.
Are these all crimes that have happened on the same boat?
Yes.
And is that the Obra Dinn?
The Obra Dinn is the boat.
And it's coming back into harbour.
Yeah.
And there's lots of people just been murdered on it.
So all you find when you walk onto it is a single corpse, and then that corpse leads you to other things. And like
right, okay.
part of it's because it's got this like vague backdrop of magic. you're not sure where you're seeing like your detective's mind's eye of this must be here, or if it's literally making things appear or open on the ship.
It's probably just scurvy.
But there's a twist very early on in because you go on and you see something and you're like, I totally understand where this story's going and I know how it's going to figure out. And then you see something about, I'd say, half an hour in, and you're like, oh my God, this is a completely different story to the one I thought it was. And it's amazing.
I might actually play it sooner than my Christmas break, just so nothing is spoiled for me.
I don't we're doing a feeture where I've written about that twist on the site, but it is a spoiler heavy feature.
Yeah.
But
I thought we were making that feature. Good luck with a thumbnail for that. I think you see why he's used that like art style.
Just because he likes those old games, like the old Macintosh
So
games.
he just wants to like evoke that.
Yeah, cool. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, it's so good. Please
no
play it.
grass in it though, but it is a beautiful game.
No.
No grass in the
No,
ocean.
there is no grass.
Titchmarsh
Except
out.
at the bottom.
Kelp. The sea's grass. And that's it.
Lovely.
Actual best detective game of all time, Return
I
of the
think that's
Obra Dinn.
probably the best awards you're going to get this year.
I mean, no other awards are going to have ball bags, singledom, and, I don't know,
Grass.
Monster Hunter. I don't think Monster Hunter's winning any awards, sadly, except from me. So that was the IGN UK Alternate Awards for Games 2018. But you know what? We've also got a whole one separate one about movies.
What's happened? You've been possessed by Michael Caine.
I'm a little Michael Caine homunculus. And that's coming, next week, innit?
It was really good
no
of Corey to
promises.
animate that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, new jingles for everything.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
not?
yeah,
For
yeah,
every
yeah.
award. Why not? Do you want me to make it 3D?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
VR. If we could have,
Michael Caine's
if we could have the
homunculus.
camera just in the middle of the table.
That's
so
our
we
new
can
band
look.
name.
Michael Caine's homunculus. Thank you so much for joining us. Come back on Wednesday for the film equivalent.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.